Hey guys, and welcome back to another brand new episode of DIY and Construction Fails. Today we show you all of the fails we've gone through together today in one full video, from your local cheap handyman to your neighbour who thinks owning a Ryobi makes him a tradesman. This one has it all. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So here we have this next guy who had been trying to take off this Y underneath of an old home, but he instead pulled the Y along with connection drain into the shower.
Oh shit.
If you ever hire a handyman to install a TV bracket on the wall of your home, don't complain if the darn thing comes off at midnight. Now here we have this first lady who had tried to attempt her own DIY interior paint job. She ended up using some of the stickiest tape she could find, and when she peels it, she realised that her whole project was done for. Now this next clip, a warehouse worker had been trying to pick off items with her order picker, but turns out the top of the order picker destroyed some roughed-in water supply at the very top of this commercial building. Now, this next plumber got one of the craziest surprises in his whole entire plumbing career, when the owner had told him that the water heater drain operated smoothly. But now, this plumber has trust issues, even around his own customers. This poor dude has to deal with this hot water 5 PM job nightmare. So here we have this next guy who had DIY'd his whole entire bathroom. While it looks pretty well done, there's some things that only true plumbers from experience know how to do, and that's to level out the shower valve where it's supposed to be.
It goes on nicely, but look, that is all it goes on. We are about 10 mil off the wall because the actual shower unit is too far forward.
Boy, I sure hope nothing pisses me off and fucks me sideways today, I say as I clock in at the pissing me off and fucking me sideways factory!
So here we have this next guy who'd been hired to hang sheets of drywall after the last guy had been fired. And the installer quickly points out what went wrong before the last guy had gotten fired.
Okay. Fíjense de este lado, está todo liso. Fíjense ahora por acá de este lado. ¿Qué es lo que hace falta ahí? ¿Qué ven qué es lo que hace falta ahí?
So this next guy had came in for an inspection on a newly built track home shower, only to find that the builders had left the tiles around the drain somewhere else. Here we have this handyman who thought stud finders were a scam, but at the end of the day, he was able to do it.
Dos, tres, vámonos. Aguanta.
Now this next clip, we have this guy who had came in for a service call at this house when he had found that the second story floor joist had been completely hacked up. And to add to severity, they even tried to repair it, but nothing could make this revert back to what it was.
Ain't no way, bruh. Let me get out of here before this motherfucker fall down. Oh shit.
Go get the child!
Here, we have this next clips where the contractor had opened up a vent pipe behind the wall. Now the vent has been open since the house was built. Here, we have this next toilet who had been installed for King that owns the attic. This is so royalty that even luxury homes couldn't compete with the layout.
Got a big roll of this from TikTok shop, and the idea was to put it here. It's like a sticky back mirror. One, it's not sticking. It's just not sticking. And two, What in the world is going on?
Here we have this next lady who had tried to install the cabinet door herself, but to no surprise, she ended up putting the hinges on backwards, ruining the whole thing.
Bottom. Yeah, that one up there is on the bottom.
Now, this lady had thought she could easily create stripes on her wall, but these things take experience to do. This house has a pocket door, but inside it also has 2 toilets. Now this would make a lovely number 2 day with your girlfriend, or even wife.
What is this? A center for ants!
This guy just got fired and he didn't even notice yet. Here, we have this next guy who had filmed this basement that had suffered one of the craziest and dangerous floods we've seen yet, where the water was just merely inches away from taking in the main electrical panel.
Get this sucker empty in no time. Heck yeah. Already getting somewhere.
Now this next guy had been contracted by the homeowners on the website Craigslist to do some handyman work inside of this kitchen, but he is clearly distracted, trying to learn on the phone.
These wires, clunk, pull them out through the hole in the bottom of the...
Here we have this next lady, whose husband has vanished into the abyss of a construction life elsewhere, leaving her alone at home, and now she ends up grabbing her husband's jigsaw trying to cut a piece of wood, but she don't even know how to use the darn thing.
Yeah, so I pulled this out, but I think it's called a cartridge. I only have a white one, and it doesn't fit. The water is, at least it's in the tub, but I'm on the 4th floor, and I'm pretty sure it's leaking behind the wall. Anyone can tell me what to do, please, man. I'm in a jam.
Here we have this girl who had witnessed a crazy water damage nightmare on the story right above her, and she ends up catching the ceiling collapse. Now here we have this inspector who had caught one of the craziest rough-in findings of his entire life. Now he had found a slide roughed into this home that slides you down from the 3rd story all the way down to the basement. Now to anyone watching this right now, would you reckon it would even pass the inspection?
But as a thorough quality inspector, obviously, I'm going to have to slide down this to make sure that it is functioning properly.
Homeowners had never even used the shower because of what happened to it. So a little backstory is that the shower had been built by a general contractor. Unfortunately, the waterproofing was done completely incorrect, alongside with tile being back-buttered, not even fully. This caused the shower to leak because of all of its failures. This goes to show that not every contractor can be competent. Any plumber would know that releasing the pressure from another fixture nearby would fix this guy's issue. Now here we have this so-called plumber who had flooded a kitchen after he had finished some under the cabinet plumbing work for a kitchen sink. So the homeowner had went ahead and called him back to own up and fix his mistake, but it turns out that it became a much more bigger issue. This so-called plumber had now run away, creating a water damage nightmare for this family of 5 that the restoration company has to come and clean up. The homeowner had complained because of how hollow those tiles were, and when the contractor had removed them, they had almost came off so easily because of how poorly they were placed. So here, we have this next guy who had told the homeowner who is recording that he could easily fix one of his leaky angle stop valves, but it ended up being a mistake because the guy had absolutely no idea what he was doing, and to make matters worse, the water is just never ending.
I can't do without pliers.
Go upstairs and get the pliers.
You got to hold it.
Who gonna hold that?
It's your house.
Why the fuck would you turn? Why would you fuck with my shit if you can't? If motherfucker you ain't know what the fuck to do, man.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that a hardware store sells you a concrete saw designed to cut seamlessly. but apparently hole saw is more efficient. Now this woman's roofer fiance is going to have to stick to laying shingles on the roof because apparently he doesn't know how to properly flush a water heater. A kid would know better on what to do.
Esto ya agarraron de chamba mi carrito, men. Nah, este hijo de la gran puta. Es el mío. No, men, pobre carrito, men. Es el mío. Esto sí se pasaron de verga. Pobre carrito, men. No. Se agarraron de chamba estar metiendo esos animales.
No truck, no problem. And it amazes me how the most reliable car on earth can also have so much space for my 30-gallon water heater.
Este holandés solo cagándola con el carrito anda. Está bueno. Qué barbaridad.
Here we have this next guy who had complained about rushing the electricians in while the plumber were already working. Now the darn plumber had roughed in these pipes right outside of all this crucial framing. But to any of my plumbers out there, could these pipes be hidden behind a soffit, or is it back to ground zero and doing it again? Now here we have this next lady who is completely upset because when she bought her brand new track home, the framers had completely ruined the corners of her home with their terrible framing.
Then you got this guy. But wait, there's more. Looking nice. And just a few more. Look at that. Turn the corner, same thing, which direction?
This next guy had reasonably crashed out after he had done the whole entire house rough in electrical for absolutely free. Now the video is in Spanish, but the guy talks about how the contractor had completely burnt him out due to the fact that he pretended to not know who he was after everything was done. It sounds so crazy, but even the guy destroying the work didn't sign a job contract for the electrical, but had more of a verbal contract with the general contractor. But what would you do in a situation like this?
You've never seen anything like the shower of the lambs. It puts the lotion on the skin down in this 3-foot deep pit with no stairs, and hopefully it stays upright because they remove the floor joists.
Now here we have a crazy structural nightmare, as a handyman had roughed in some drain line across the floor joist, but not exactly how you think, because he ended up cutting all of them more than 50% off.
Block pillar sitting next to a gigantic hole. Not ideal. Little termite damage over there. Never really seen a structural post like that before, but that's okay. And here comes the floor joist that is notched almost completely.
This is what happens when they reject the cheap handyman quote and decide to do it themselves for completely free. So here we have this next lady who had tried to paint a Christmas shower mural on her bathroom shower door. But it turns into a nightmare as time passed by and the lady not noticing that the paint completely liquefies right off of the door. Now here, she thinks that maybe it had needed more paint, but unfortunately that couldn't be any more farther from the truth. This guy dug a hole deep to put his new trampoline inside of it, but it looks like the weather destroyed his whole entire plan.
Oh. No, I'm just getting the thing how I always wanted it. Don't take long.
The tenants inside of this landlord's home had complained that the landlord had incorrectly installed the toilet bowl on this toilet. Now keep in mind, the tenants haven't paid. Now, here we have this next guy who had witnessed a team of mechanics who had dumped a full car into one garbage bin. Now, when this guy had found out what they did, they were so quick that they left within seconds. Now the trash man even questions if the car could even be disposed.
I don't know if this guy's gonna get it or not. Determined what was in it, he's gonna call it in because there's like a gas tank and an engine and everything in it. Weird.
This next lady is filming the tiles starting to buckle on her brand new track home. But this wasn't the only thing that had went wrong. Because before pre-inspection, the inspectors had passed the home with absolutely no issue, and they even waitlisted to purchase this brand new home. Unfortunately, The reason why the tiles buckle is due to the fact the expansion is taking place, where the tiles expand on their accord due to different weather variations.
Does anybody know about like building or how we can get maybe something done for this? Because I don't think the homeowners will fix this.
This guy had filmed a group of subcontractors who had done roofing for this one house, load all of the material on top of the roof of this house. And instead of actually spreading out the material so the sheathing doesn't cave in, they're put in one spot in the middle of the home. And you can guess what happens next.
Oh, it's going! Oh, shit! Damn! Down goes Fraser. Fuck!
Now, to make matter even worse for the homeowner, the guy had filmed the guys who had completely messed this guy's roof leaving as quick as possible from the job site to avoid liability.
Oh, they out of there, look. They getting up out of there. They're like, fuck that.
Here we have this next clips where the husband's lady decided to do a pallet house with her money. So the contractors decided to lift the house up and put the pallets right underneath the home. This next lady thought had found a problem with her home's electrical wiring, because connecting a shop vacuum started all of the problems. This person paid a heating and air company to defrost their AC, but what happens here goes down through the ceiling into the second floor, so now they have a water damage problem. Here we have this next guy who had demolished this terrible bathroom tile, only to find out that it all came down in one piece. Here we have this next guy who had demolished this terrible bathroom tile, only to find out that it all came down in one piece. Just when this lady threw her husband's work tools on accident into the laundry machine, the whole entire glass door of it breaks into pieces. I guess this is just one of those instances where even the handyman hacks who do terrible work should be cherished. Because this young lady's dad went too far with DIY on this one. Here we have this next lady who had done this whole entire shower herself only to find the mistake where she was completely off for all of the trim on the fixtures. And now a real plumber is going to have to come out here to fix it.
Come on. Mate. Fucking get it, fucking Eddie! Come on, hey, come on. Fucking hell, lad, come on, mate. You're fucking nuts, you lad.
This guy found out that he had been working 16 hours just for the boss to fire him without pay. So this guy had tried to remove the handheld and messed up so badly he ended up twisting the soft copper. Now here, we have this next guy who had taken video of the worst electrician known to mankind. Now this wasn't just super hack work, but a potential fire hazard.
I can't believe that's how they fixed it.
That's how they fixed it. All they did was rub caulk on it. That's their fucking solution to everything. The whole house is like that.
This guy's the king of caulk. Because any open areas he finds, he will caulk. The bead from his work is so big that it'll even cover for the next generations to come.
When you address me from now on, and plumber to my credentials.
This is what happens. Cockiness gets the best of you, because a plumber would know that when you tighten the fixture, that it's important that you don't twist the soft copper into oblivion.
Office said they're unavailable.
Oh my god.
Here, we have this next guy who had failed to install a new sprinkler inside of this home. Prior to all of this, he had 2 guys helping him out with the bucket you see right next to his ladder. Nowhere to be seen. So here, we have this next guy who had gotten this job for some recessed lighting, but instead, it turns out once he had pulled them down that the wires hadn't been stuck into a junction box, but rather left up there exposed by themselves.
Go, Kylie, go. Good job, Kylie. You're doing amazing, sweetie. Wow, look at her go.
Now, if you ever thought about buying one of those brand new track homes, then this would be one of those videos you should watch, because this professional home inspector found so many flaws that would equate to the value of someone's average salary to fix by a contractor.
Whoops. Somebody forgot to install a bracket.
Testing the slope of the shower pan. And it stops right where the water's pooling.
Now I heard that this was the inspiration for the founder that had created a stud finder. Now the next 2 soldiers had more common sense than the plumber who had done work there. It almost seemed like Ekema had went ahead and installed those faucets so poorly.
The only way this water will work if you have both of these on and now it works.
Show us with one of them off.
It looks like Caesar had went ahead and poorly installed those recessed lights right next to the sprinkler. Now here we have this next guy who is an inspector for newly built homes. So he showcases the flaws of a $3.2 million house. And for the price, you'd be super surprised how many flaws it comes with.
Look under the sink at the cabinet. All the veneer is damaged.
Frame needs to be fixed.
Exhaust vent terminations, no screens. A little loose.
This contractor had been doing a bathroom remodel for one of his customers when he had been doing demo in a shower, but this TV fell off on the other side of the wall because of the rumbling right of the shower right behind it. This guy had hired a brand new painting apprentice, but now he realized that the apprentice is going to make him so much money because he actually utilizes speed to complete these projects. This girl had thought she could easily repaint this carpet doing it herself. But was she in for a complete surprise? Because the darn carpet paint didn't even look that good. She would have made a better decision actually buying the new carpet.
Very wet. Very wet.
So this guy ends up crashing out because the electrician had put a circular electrical box in an attic access way.
It's an attic doorway. Why do we have a light fixture?
Now here we have this next guy who had been inside one of the ships when it had tipped over. Now apparently, the people who had worked on this ship prior didn't really do much to reduce the amount of water that had been coming in.
Kylie, go. Good job, Kylie. You're doing amazing, sweetie. Wow, look at her go. Great job.
Here we have this next roofing apprentice who had started his first few days into a disaster. when he had tried cutting, but instead cut the pavers to this customer's house.
What's Steve gonna do?
So here we have this pair of plumbing apprentices who had decided to cut this copper pipe to do some service work. But just like any other uneducated first-year plumber, they always forget to shut the water off. And in this case, the water had already been shut off. But either that somebody turned it back on, or the building has so much water on the 15th floor. Looks like that bucket isn't doing anybody justice. Here we have this next lady who had bought a terribly designed farmhouse that had been foreclosed many months before. Turns out she had no sump pump in this basement right after all the water came in after closing in on the place. Now this next guy was doing a water heater a customer had called him out for. The customer couldn't find the problem with his leaky water heater until the plumber touched it. Here we have the best stair cleaning company known to man, and every job they get is an extra referral to a water mitigation company.
Oh man, you scared the crap out of me. What are you doing down here?
This plumber was called over to this old home for a conduit that was leaking. Now the plumber was pretty surprised that they would even call him over for this type of working, being that this was totally outside of his scope. But he ended up doing it and found unexplainable rusted wire. The electricians had completely messed up this job because whoever had snaked all of that wire right into the panel had forgotten to label the darn wire. And now they have to go one by one, sorting the wires out like a bunch of losing lottery tickets.
Fucking tweakers, meth heads, pill heads. Fuck. Again.
Now these next guys and girls are in for a surprise. Because when the homeowner had told them to rip out the flooring only in the bathroom, the team of unlicensed handyman demolished the floor throughout the house. And now Tinkerbell is having a meltdown because of this absolute disaster.
All that. No mames. El hijo, güey, que va a tomar todo. Él nomás dijo los baños, para el piso de los baños. Only the bathroom.
Now Tinkerbell is having a fight with the unlicensed contractor, telling him to pay the unnecessary demo destruction they had done with house flooring. This girl had came back from the club only to find that her apartment had become a water-damaged nightmare she'd never forget. Because the story right above her had a pipe burst seeping right through her unit and the ones below it. Call that a nightmare, and you can just imagine how much damage that would cost.
I had to stop so I could marvel at this engineering masterpiece. Whose idea was this, bro? At least they still got that grass there.
This journeyman is making a joke out of this apprentice trying to cut some pipe. But do you really think it's well deserved? Because isn't he responsible for the apprentice?
Seriously, ¿cómo puede pasar esto?
This lady thought handyman Jose would take care of her cabinets, but apparently neither of his screws hit a single stud. And when the earth shaked, the drywall couldn't take it anymore and let them go.
Third time will be the charm.
Oh man, that's hilarious. Hey, that's that union training.
This next guy had a crew of drywallers cover up the whole place. And as the next day had passed, he had realised that the scissor lift had been drywalled stuck into the structure. So now they got to figure how to get it out. This sparkly electrician had left his ladder in the area where the plumbers had been working. So they ended up running the vent through his ladder, and now he has no idea how to get it out. Now here we have this next guy who does inspections and immediately fails this house because of how easy it is just to break into the home by removing the window panes from the outside. Whoever had hired this plumber for a kitchen sink drain needs to be fired, because the whole drain looks like a plumbing roller coaster on steroids.
Yo! Yo!
He tried to defend it.
God damn. Now here we have this next guy who had bought this ran down house with a basement, but he didn't expect all the light fixtures to be powered by an extension cord, but not exactly what you think it might be because they exposed the wires of the cord. It's a miracle. The whole entire place hasn't burned itself up. But to the electricians out there, what would you rate this wiring of the fixtures?
Oh my.
Now here, we have this refrigeration guy who does the most dumbest thing possible. Sawzalling a line on the compressor, and now we got Freon shooting everywhere. Now this is one lucky guy to have a brother like that, showing him the hacked work of other contractors.
Oh man. Todo esto es de esa línea. Ahí mira, está liqueando. Oh my God!
Now here, we have these next guys who had been wiring up one of the wrong apartments, and it took a little bit of time for them to notice.
104, not 204. Bro. We're supposed to be down. Oh my God.
Now here, we have one of the best toilet plumbing videos you will ever see, because the rough-in on this one is absolutely amazing. Even the inspectors approve of this.
It like immediately fucking shoots off. What am I supposed to do?
Now, this next couple decided to install a garage door themselves, and after a long hefty day of getting the darn thing on there, it looked like it had hope.
Yay! Oh my God.
Here we have this next guy who had wife wiping down the popcorn on their ceiling. I guess they thought wiping it would bring it down, but instead they're creating an asbestos pocket in the air. Those poor plumbers got called in for a job they didn't expect to be signing up for. When both owner and foreman walk out coughing, you know it's much worse than corn and wet wipes. The customer wanted the cheapest rough-in plumbing for a shower valve and a shower head, so the plumber ended up giving them this. I guess it's efficient. This is why experience always beats cheap shortcuts, because when these contractors had forgotten to compact the dirt, Granny came in to save the day.
Todo esto es de esa línea.
This next guy had check-in on his track home he had ordered to be built by a group of contractors, only to find that they had forgot to close the windows, letting water seep right in. Now, these next two guys had been trying to fix a sprinkler inside of a Walmart, but it completely backfires when the sprinkler spits right out. Now, here we have the inspector doing a foundation check on this newly built home when an easy step on the corners of it destroys it all. Now here we have this delusional lady who had thought a builder-grade countertop was not bougie enough for her own standards. So instead of hiring a real contractor to replace the darn thing, she ended up going with the refinishing herself. And now it looks like a hot pile. How long do you think this will last? Because my bet has it that as soon as water comes into play, the whole thing will peel off within seconds.
Shit! Oh my god.
This guy was taking off a vanity mirror inside of this bathroom. Now, just like any DIY person would do it, run a screw through the drywall and miss the stud. But in this case, the last person screwed it into a water pipe. And now the next this guy does will surprise you. Now, this next guy had inspects a newly built track home shower. But apparently, the apprentice had gotten a hold of this one, because the shower door is literally so close to the wall and the shower head is ready to shoot at anybody.
Pretty much directly underneath it to turn it on. And then you just got this little bit of space.
Now, the lesson wasn't completely learned the last time she attempted taking off the shower door. So she tries it again, but her technique doesn't let it go how she wanted it to.
So far, so good.
Here we have one of the best toilets known to man. Because of its Bluetooth flushing system, it ends up send all the poo water into the nearest drain in proximity. Given if the slope is correctly done, here we have...
My property management company just installed my new oven, which is perfect timing because I wanted to bake some cookies today, so I'm just gonna get my rolling pin here and get started.
Some may call this one of the neatest combo packages you can ever get, up until they find out the water is immediately recycled back into washing your hands. But the real question is, would you buy this? This brother decided to cheap out on the septic pump, so he got inside of the septic and did it himself. So here we have this next guy who had almost had a complete heart attack because he had pierced through a gas line with his machine. Luckily, the yellow part of it is just a liner for what's underneath.
Oh my god, it's metal.
Bro, hurry up! No, bro.
First year apprentice was working upstairs and forgot how easy drywall breaks when you stand on it. Thank you guys for watching another brand new episode of DIY and Construction Fails. If you enjoyed today's educational video on what not to do, then leave a like and check out the rest of our videos.
You alright? Well, I just killed everything. How?
Now here, we have this next guy who had completely destroyed a whole pallet of 5/8 drywall. Now apparently this was the guy's first day and last day at work after lying on his resume. So here, we have this next guy aiming in for Wheelbarrel Olympic, or better yet, Red Bull officially signs him to do this crazy stunt with no concept of how the barrel will move. Thank you guys for watching another brand new episode of DIY and Construction Fails. If you enjoyed today's fully packed episode of Construction Fails, don't forget to leave a like and check out the rest of our videos.